Hi, this is Ken Sagos. I play Kincaid in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 and 4 on the Great Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 237. Tonight, we're talking about Stranger Things Season 4, currently streaming on Netflix. I'm one of your hosts, Todd. We have Joe, and last but not least, the man himself, back from the brink of destruction, Steve. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone, for listening last week with my solo episode.
I need to listen to it, too, but I still need to listen, but I imagine you're just, like, contemplating life. Sitting in the bath.
I mean, it was different than any other episode we've ever had. That's for sure. I basically just talked news for essentially the whole segment. I went almost an hour, which was surprising. It wasn't expecting to go that long. But yeah, I just talked the Monsters trailer, Halloween Ends trailer, the new Jeepers Creepers trailer, which I do, before we get into Stranger Things, I do want to hear your quick thoughts on all three of those or whichever ones you've watched so far. And then I did a couple mini reviews on Incantation and Watcher, which I'm sure Steve will talk about next week because we're not doing What Watched. But yeah, if you want to hear my thoughts on all that, give it a listen.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to talk about it because since I had COVID, which is the reason I couldn't be there last week, I still have COVID, unfortunately, but it's going away. I watched 4 movies every single day because I had nothing else to do. I was too weak to play video games. I couldn't really walk around. So it was sleeping and watching movies. So I have a watch list of 30 movies. So I don't know if I'll talk about Incantation, but quickly, it's a good movie, but I thought it could have been better. Basically what Joe said. I listened to the episode, so good job, Joe. I actually really enjoyed the episode. It was a fun listen. Definitely enjoyed, especially you shitting on the Monsters trailer because, it doesn't look good at all. But yeah, so I'm happy to be back and finally doing Stranger Things Season 4. Been looking forward to this episode for a long time. Stranger Things Season 3, which we did like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, is one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. It was just a really fun discussion. It's just a series that kind of pushes fun discussion, so super looking forward to it. I do have 2 little announcements / kind of things to talk about here at the top of the show. The first thing is we're doing our movie club on the day that this episode releases. It's something we do every single month on our Discord. And this month we're reviewing Vampires versus the Bronx, which is a Netflix exclusive film. And we're doing that at 9 p.m. Eastern. All you need to do is be part of our Discord and you'll get the link on Friday. We always have a ton of fun discussions about the movie we're reviewing. And then we kind of just hang out and chat horror and other stuff like that. So if you'd like to be part of that, just send us a message and we'll give you the Discord link. And the other thing I want to talk about is we are very quickly approaching our annual Top of the Decade episode, which this year is the very highly anticipated 1980s episode. Very difficult list to make, but we want to do an ultimate list as we do every year, and we cannot do that without you. So please send us your top 10 of the 1980s list within the next 2 weeks. And we'll put them into the ultimate list. And I really, really, really looking forward to seeing what people put on there because the 80s, as you all know, absolutely stacked full of movies. And I think it go in a lot of ways. I think there's 3 or 4 movies that are being on a lot of lists, but those other 6 could be really from anywhere. So super looking forward to it. So please send us in those lists to any of us, preferably Joe. He's the one who compiles them. But we'd love to see them.
Yeah. I'm really excited for that 80s list. I really haven't done much prep work for it. I know Steve's gone like crazy with the prep work. Yeah, I think me and Todd are the same. I think we're just kind of winging it. We're just
I'm not going to rewatch anything. Yep.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's going to be fun. I think that ultimate list is going to be all over the place.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what number 1 is going to be like for the ultimate list. I think I know what both of your number 1s is going to be, but as far as ultimate, no clue.
What do you think mine's going to be? I won't tell you if it's right or wrong.
The Evil Dead.
Evil Dead.
And mine?
Actually, Steve's.
There's doubt.
I do have some doubts.
I will say this though.
I think both of yours could be the Evil Dead. Honestly, I think it could probably be both.
It's not.
I think Steve's is Return of the Living Dead or Day of the Dead.
We shall see. But I will say this. You're talking about being prepared. Yes, I've rewatched a lot of the 80s movies.
You rewatched all of them. All 3,080s movies.
Yeah, that's right. I took down notes when I watched In Search of Darkness, like volume 1 and 2, and I just wrote down every movie and watched them. It did change my list considerably. Some things I didn't think would go on there are going to be on there, and some things I thought were lock-ins that I actually pushed out. So yeah, I guess it'll be different than what I thought it would be originally. So it'll be fun, very fun discussion. I think we're doing that in like 2 weeks. We're doing Nope next week, and then the 80s list the week after, unless something changes. But that's the current plan.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen Nope yet, I saw it recently. All I'll say is before our review, if just see it on the biggest possible screen you can. Like see it in IMAX. If you can see it in IMAX, do it, because it was filmed with IMAX cameras for a lot of it, and I would say about almost like 40 to 45 minutes of the movie is in like full IMAX screen, and it's pretty fucking awesome. Like if you saw like The Dark Knight in IMAX, there were a couple of scenes. There's like multiple scenes in this one, so definitely if you can check it on the biggest screen, do it.
I'm gonna see it Saturday morning.
Nice.
Monsters. That trailer looks god awful. That movie looks stupid. It's not even like the performances. It just looks really cheap, and the sound was like really like bad.
Yep.
Like super bad. I don't even know how they can. A big studio company could get the sound that terrible. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I saw something on Reddit that I shared with you guys that really made me laugh. Someone just put the Brazzers like thing on the bottom left, and fuck, that is totally true. It looks like a porno parody of the Munsters. Like that's the kind of quality it looks like. Or, dare I say, something that Full Moon's put out in the last 5 years. It's got that same aesthetic, and I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna watch it. It's on Netflix, so it won't cost me anything to watch it, and I'm very curious. But
when's that come out? This October?
September, I think, right?
September?
Yeah, it's September. Yeah,
we'll have to cover it.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely.
We talked about it so much over the last year that we like almost have to, right?
Yeah, definitely. What'd you guys think of the Halloween Ends trailer? Quickly.
I didn't watch it. I'm gonna go in blind.
Didn't watch it
yet?
Yeah. All right. Honestly, I will say, Todd, this one doesn't give anything away, so you probably could watch it and it wouldn't really affect you.
Yeah, honestly, if you had told me that was the Halloween Kills trailer, I would have believed it too, because you don't see much. You really don't see a lot. So yeah, it's tough to say at this point. It's only like a minute long, and it's quick shots for the most part. There's no real story being explained. I'm curious to see where they go with it. They show that Laurie and Michael fight, but everyone they had to do that, so that's not a surprise at all. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Before one more thing before we get into
Jeepers Creepers.
Sure, you want to talk about that? It looks
good. I just watched it when you guys were talking.
Yeah.
It looks actually surprisingly pretty good.
It does.
I like the whole carnival thingy they got going on. That looks pretty dope, and it looks like the costumes and everything way better than the last turd that came out with the great value weapons and everything.
Yeah, I agree. It looks actually pretty cool, especially after that. I never watched Jeepers Creepers 3, just had a principle, but maybe I'll watch this one. I know that Salah's not involved in any way, apparently. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Will you go see it? Are you guys gonna go see it? The Fathom events for it?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it that bad. I'll wait till streaming.
Yeah. Same. And one last thing, we do have an interview next week. So if you want to prep for that interview, the movie is called Slapface. I interviewed the director and the two lead actors for the movie today. It is available over on Shudder. So if you're a subscriber to Shudder, you can check it out for free over there. Or it released, I think yesterday or today on VOD. So you can check it out either way. Steve and I both watched it. We're going to talk about it next week, but spoilers, we both enjoyed it. So go and check it out and be prepped for the interview for next week.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
All right, we're gonna do only Stranger Things tonight, since that's obviously gonna be a long episode. There's 9 episodes to cover. So a quick synopsis of the season. Where season 3 left off, it was the Byers family moving, getting out of their little town because it's fucking crazy town. Everything goes wrong there, right? So they move to California. 11 goes with them because Hopper is missing in action. And then we pick up right where basically left off. The Byers are in California, trying to live their life. 11 still doesn't have her powers. She's struggling with adapting to life. Mike and crew are back in what's the name of the freaking town? Hawkins. And they're kind of drifting apart too. So we go to episode 1. We have a flashback of the facility, and we have a little baby 11, where we're kind of led to believe that she snapped back in the past and murdered every single person in that facility. We get with the California crew, like I said, and we have 11. She's struggling, but she's lying too. She's writing letters to Mike, and now she's worried that he doesn't love her and blah, blah, blah. So we have to deal with that. Lucas, meanwhile, is not really embracing the nerdum anymore. He's not in the D&D. He's actually hanging out with the cool kids. He's playing basketball. He's riding the bench, but gets to the point where he makes the winning shot in the tournament. But that was also a wedge in the relationship with the crew too, because they're like, hey, you need to come play D&D with us. But Luke is like, no, I want to play basketball. This is my new life, guys, whatever. Which leads us to be introduced to Hellfire Club, led by senior kind of loser Eddie Munson, who takes all the nerds under his wing, Mike included, Dustin, all them, and plays D&D. So it happens to be on the basketball game night. So Mike and his friends miss Lucas's big night. So that kind of pissed everybody off as well. We catch up with Robin, who's in love with a fellow band member who I thought Robin was like out of high school. So I was like, okay, because didn't they graduate in season 3, Steve and Robin?
I thought that's what they insinuated when they were working together, right? Was that they were both graduated, but
right.
I guess not.
She's back in high school, crushing on girls, and she's kind of dealing with her sexuality and not knowing she should ask her out, things like that. We're introduced to the new D&D character, the evil bad guy named Vecna. So of course the kids are gonna play D&D like that, and if you watch all the other seasons, the D&D monster always leads to their name of the real monster in the story. Meanwhile, Joyce in California, she gets a mysterious Russian doll sent to her, and she calls our boy, what's his name? Murray, telling him hey, we got a freaking creepy Russian doll. Could it be Hop? I don't know if it's Hopper or not, but of course, if you guys watched the end of season 3, it was already spoiled, and then you saw the trailer for it that was released 2 years ago. Hopper was live already. Lo and behold, though, the cheerleader is she's the main girl in school. Oh, I gotta mention too, the main jock in this show, this guy loves to hear himself speak. I forget what his name was, but he makes this fucking speech at the beginning. Is we're gonna win the game for everyone that died, and they hey, shut up, who's believing your bullshit? But he's got this girlfriend that's something's wrong with her. I thought she was pregnant and she was trying to hide it. I guess I looked online and she's bulimic or had something like that where she throw up and stuff after eating. But anyway, she meets with Eddie, who's the pariah of the school, and to buy drugs from him. So they go back to Eddie's trailer, right, late at night, where she's brutally murdered in front of him, talking having her arms bent backwards, knees bent backwards, her eyes sucked into her face, and super brutal. And of course, that leads us to the end of the episode. So what do you guys think about this one?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a great start to the season. That opening interesting at the facility. Oof, I would not think Stranger Things would go there, right? And they even put a warning at the beginning of the episode, obviously, because it came out after one of the mass shootings. I've lost track of unfortunately, of all the mass shootings that have happened recently. But yeah, I mean, they even give a warning, but it was still pretty shocking to see all of the dead kids in the facility and stuff like that. So that I thought was a really good, disturbing, but really good way to start the season. Really interesting. All the kids and stuff. I mean, great, good lead intro to everyone back and whatnot. And that Eddie at first, I thought he was gonna be like a dickhead. Like I thought he was gonna be like a bad character. But then he starts to you realize, oh, he's actually gonna be like one of the friends or something like that. So that was cool. And then the ending, like that that ending scene was awesome. Like holy shit. Like it definitely gave me Nightmare on Elm Street vibes, obviously, because it's you don't see the killer or what is going on, but you see her body just contorting in different ways. Definitely gave me Freddy Krueger vibes there. And I thought it was fucking awesome. So, I mean, yeah, great first episode.
Yeah, and I completely agree. Just before I start my quick review, just a note, we will do questions at the end of the episode because they're like 95% Stranger Things related. So that's why the question period is after the review, not before like it usually is. I thought this was a great way to start the season. We hadn't seen Stranger Things in like 2 years because of COVID and stuff. And they really started it with a bang. Like Joe said, that first scene was fucking brutal. And it gave you kind of a taste of what they were going for this season. So that was really crazy. The introduction to Eddie, I mean, right away you can get to see how cool the guy he is. Like he's just really chill and stuff. But you're right, he's like 2-3 years older than everyone else, which is a little odd. He's like saying that this is his year to graduate high school. I don't know how many times he's tried to.
I think
or
he
at
said
what
he's
point.
held back twice.
Twice,
So
okay.
it makes him about 21 years old.
That must be the limit for before they kick you out of school, But he seems like a really cool guy, and I like the whole idea of the Hellfire Club and everything. They recruit Erica for the Hellfire Club because Lucas isn't available because he's playing basketball. So it's a nice way to integrate kind of Erica back into the story after being introduced in season 3. And it was also cool to see Hellfire kind of defeat Vecna, right? Because they're kind of introducing Vecna, the entity, which is a D&D character, before we really get the introduction to Vecna, the character that we're going to come to know as the villain for the season. And that final kill, holy shit, that was a insane kill. Like, I couldn't believe that they went that far into gore and the way she contortion and the breaking of the arms, and it was crazy. Like I couldn't believe it, and it really made me excited to see the rest of the season. And I for one, I know a lot of people don't agree with me on this. I was thrilled that I didn't have to wait a week to watch episode 2. A lot of people like to do the week to week, but personally, I loved binging, so I couldn't wait to do episode 2 after this, and I thought it was a great way to start the season.
Yeah, I didn't like Eddie at first in the high school scene. I didn't like him. I thought, I'm like, this guy is a loser. He's like, I finally sided with Ted. He's like, he called it like the Burnout Club or something like that. Mike's dad. Wait, is that Mike's dad? No. It's someone's fucking dad.
It is Mike's dad, isn't it?
Is it Mike's dad? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know his name, but sure.
It's Ted that Billy tried to bang his mom or almost bang his mom. Yeah. But no, then they got the D&D crew, and I'm like, all right, I can see what this guy's about. He really does care for the kids, that the nerdy type. Then at the end, when he's talking to Chris, or towards the drug deal part, when they're in the woods talking to Chrissy, that was a really cool scene. I'm like, all right, and now I know who this guy is, and he's pretty cool. Yeah, and I agree with you guys. That last kill, that was like horror, like rated R horror movie kill right there. I was like, oh shit, they're going for it. Brings us to episode 2, Vecna's Curse. Now we get to see where Hopper is. Turns out he is in a Russian jail doing hard time. He's lost, I don't know, probably 60 pounds, and he's looking super thin, and he's just fucking hating life. The cops start investigating into the cheerleader's death, which obviously happened inside Eddie's trailer, so he's on the run. And what I like too about this is that I know during the time frame, like Stephen King was like demonic, like people thought if you read Stephen King, you're like worshiping the devil. So I liked how they kind of played off real life, where like Eddie plays D&D, and then that comes into play a little bit later too. Mike's going on vacation to California, meet with Eleven and his buddy Will. Will, man, they need to get this kid a fucking different haircut. Like, stop doing him like that. He was in that Halloween movie with Adam Sandler with a normal haircut, and he's a handsome kid, but this bowl cut's not working out. Like, please, for the love of God. And it's clear that he's been struggling with his sexuality too since season 3, and it's still behind the scenes, I guess, with him. So that's kind of brutal for his character. Steve and Robin, hanging out in the video store. Steve's just like basically just a playboy. He knows who he loves, but he can't get there yet. Benny's Burger is some kind of like high school kid hangout where they drink beer and they have fucking Christmas lights strung up and all that shit. And then completely unrealistically, Joyce and Murray gather forces and head over to Russia to save Hop. I must have missed it. Where'd she come up with 40 grand?
Just had it apparently.
Just had it. Okay, yeah, sure.
She had a good savings account apparently. Single
Okay, yeah,
mom,
from-
she's
yeah,
making
working
more
at
than
the
Will's piggy bank.
All right. Yes, she had 40. They're gonna go save him because they did a bunch of experiments on the Russian doll, and it turns out there was like a hidden message that only Joyce would understand from Hop. So they're going to Russia. Dude, I had a problem with this. I hate bullying, first of all, and then this episode in the skate rink was brutal, man. Because 11 the whole time's lying from Mike, saying like she's got all these friends, she's having a great time in California, but lo and behold, like no one likes her. She's a pariah. She doesn't really understand how to get along with people. And then this stupid bitch does some like bullshit prank / whatever you want to call it in the middle of the skating rink in front of everybody. And it's just brutal. I hated that scene. And then fucking 11 beats her over the head with a roller skate, which is crazy. Max and Dustin, they go recruit Steve and Robin, of course, to go help find Eddie, which kind of bugged me at the beginning, man. Like, I'm like, these kids are putting a lot of stock into Eddie not really being a murderer. Like, we as the audience know he didn't do it, but like these like kids are like trusting this guy. Nancy is investigating. Okay, so there's some things with Jonathan and Nancy, right? Jonathan was supposed to go to college with Nancy. She's over in the college. Jonathan can't get in because he's, not as bright as her, whatever it is. So they're kind of a weird relationship, but they're not talking to each other. Nancy's got this little sidekick character that I fucking hated. I don't know how you guys felt about him, but I could not stand him, little nerd. Dustin and the group finally catch up with Eddie. And then that leads to the final kill where Nancy goes to the Eddie's little trailer complex thing, and the kid, her partner, starts getting like these weird kind of flashback things to a traumatic event in his life, and then he just fucking randomly in the middle of the road gets arms broken, legs broken, face sucked in, and now he's the new victim. And that's the end of episode 2. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I liked. This episode wasn't bad. Not nearly as good as the first one, but it was interesting to see Eddie on the run in this one. And I think the most interesting part of this episode was definitely 11's dealing with being bullied, obviously, because it's not something that we had seen prior. So seeing her dealing with real life bullies and stuff, I thought was really good, and you really felt for her. And then that skate rink scene was awesome in a lot of ways. Hey, kids, violence doesn't solve anything, but it was still cool to see in the moment. But yeah, other than that, I'll get into it obviously the later we get into the season, but I definitely feel like the Hopper, Joyce, Murray stuff was definitely the weakest part of this season. But there was some good that came out of it. But, whenever that part came out, it was just kind of like, all right, can we get back to like the kids and stuff like that? Because I felt like all of those storylines were way more interesting. So, yeah, overall, like a decent episode with another cool kill at the end.
Yeah, I like this episode as well. I agree with Joe. Anytime the Russia storyline came into play, for most of it, I was kind of bored. It just wasn't interesting to me. Like, it didn't really relate to anything that was going on, and I was more invested in what was happening with kind of Eddie's, murder situation that he has, and also kind of Elle's dealing with not having her powers, which is an interesting like side story that they have going on for the majority of this season. Elle's never been really vulnerable throughout the series because she always had her powers to rely on, and now she has no powers, and it's like she has a hard time dealing with it. A little bit of a Homelander situation where suddenly it's not the most powerful person in the room. So it was an interesting to see and how to like use that by using the whole bullying angle. And she just slapped that roller skate right in her face. And like Joe said, violence doesn't solve anything, but it was really sweet to watch. She as a viewer, is like she fucking deserved that. And the rest of the episode was good. It wasn't like great. I love watching Steve and Robin just work. Like I could watch a whole series about them just working in different places. We talked about this like 2 weeks ago, where that's where a spinoff I would like to see is just them working in a different 80s themed like store that we don't have anymore, just messing around because they're so funny and they work so well together. And I really enjoyed that. And the rest of the episode is like passable. You get pretty much the same death. So I was kind of like at this point, okay, are we going to get this death just every week now? Is that going to be just who's going to die next at the hands of Vecna? So I thought that was, it was cool because it's a cool death, but I was hoping that after this, they do something different, or I guess someone more important than these characters that they keep introducing basically just to get killed. So yeah, it was a good episode.
I'm not mad out. I thought this one was boring. But it did have one, I don't know if it was episode 1 or this episode, but Elle tries to attack Angela with like a power, and it ended up being just a joke where she was like in the quad at school and hey Angela, nothing happens, everyone just laughs at her. We do that at like when my kids are throwing fits now, I'll do that shit to break the ice. Yeah, and I agree about the Russia stuff. Like I didn't like the storyline with Russia at all, and I have a big issue with it. Hopper is cool. He's like my favorite character besides Steve. But him surviving and the way that they showed him surviving didn't make any sense. Like, that was probably a different episode coming up, but talk about now. He falls and then doesn't get vaporized, even though everyone else did at the end of season 3. And then the Russians come kidnap him while the U.S. military is like raiding the facility. It didn't make any sense. It was like way too convenient. I would have liked Hopper to jump into the portal like we all thought he did. And then that's part of like the season, it's getting him back, but that was just my take on it.
We also failed to mention episode 1, Chrissy, who of course is the first victim, which I had no idea, played by Casper Van Dien's daughter.
Oh, really?
You Starship Troopers fan, yeah.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah.
She did very well. All right, episode 3, The Monster and the Superhero. So we got Paul Reiser back. He's recruited by the military, who I fucking hate the main military guy in this one. He is a super prick. They go get him and is like, hey dude, we need to figure out what the fuck's going on. You're in. Nancy's friend's body is found. So the police now have another murder victim to investigate. Oh, also we didn't mention too that the new chief is one of the old deputies. I forget his name, but the African-American deputy from the other seasons. So he's the new chief in there. Joyce and Murray go to Alaska because the whole scheme is there's a Russian fucking security guard that has a really shady dude that smuggles stuff from Alaska to Russia, and then they have to trust the shady guy, so they're gonna go give him $40K to go get Hopper and bring him back to America. So that's what they're trying to do. The basketball team, led by the super jock who likes to talk, him and his team are like, you know what, we're gonna go fucking find Eddie and avenge Chrissy. So they're going on a fucking rampage around town, which brings them to Dustin because Dustin is in the Hellfire Club. So they're searching out him to try to get him to tell what's going on. Elle is arrested, which was like, I don't think that would ever happen. A minor getting arrested without any parental involvement and then getting transferred to fucking prison. That was like crazy. So she got arrested for assault on the girl with the rollerblade. But she is brought to a secret facility because Paul Reiser steps in and takes her back to. Someone give me say it, Joe.
Papa?
Papa's back, everybody. So Papa's back. He's like, will you do this with me, Papa and daughter, or whatever he says, because they have to save the world, right? Nancy and Robin kind of have a girl power team. They're investigating. Victor Creel, who turns out might have been the first victim of this guy. And there's a creepy house in Hawkins that these kids never mentioned in the previous 3 seasons. You think they would have been all over that. So they go to the library and they start investigating like what happened to this guy. Turns out Freddy Krueger happened to this guy because it's played by Robert Englund. I don't even know if that's in this same episode.
It's not.
It's not. We'll get there. And then we figure out that one of the crowd favorites, Max, she's Vecna's next target because he targets people that have emotional or traumatic events. Her, obviously, from season 3 with her brother getting killed in front of her. So Vecna like targets people like that. He gets in their minds and slowly starts making them hallucinate until he eventually fully gets them, sucks out their soul or whatever you want to call it, and kills them. What did you guys think?
Yeah, describing it, I feel like this is like maybe like more of a filler episode because I don't remember like a lot about what happened in this one. I guess the most interesting thing from what you described was the whole L going back to the facility with Papa and Paul
Papa.
Reiser's character there, Papa, to get her powers back or attempt to get her powers back. So yeah, I mean, other than that, I really don't remember much about this episode, so I'm just gonna say mainly a filler episode. Nothing too great in this one.
I agree. I think this was one of the more boring episodes of the season. Like you said, it's a very much a filler episode where they're just trying to get people to where they need to be to continue the story. But it's like basically a full episode of them doing that. So it's there's not a ton, to kind of discuss in this episode. You're right. Elle getting arrested was like kind of crazy. I thought it when she did it. I'm like, wow, in real life, she'd probably get like some kind of police response. But when they actually arrest her, I was like, huh, okay, that's an interesting way to go. But then immediately Sam, Paul Reiser's character, gets her out and recruits her to go to the facility. And then it was cool to see that the basketball team are kind of hunting the Hellfire Club, which is all a stupid misunderstanding because a D&D club, but I guess that's how it was back then. They didn't know better. Anything is considered devil's, music or devil's playing or whatever it is. So yeah, not much to talk about this episode. It was, like you said, a filler, but it definitely picks up after this. So I guess you need this episode to get to where it's going next.
We've been getting a lot of Satanic Panic stuff lately between like this and Conjuring Part 3, and also there was that other movie me and Steve watched, We Summon the Darkness, that had to do with this. So yeah, there's been a lot lately.
Devil so hot right now.
Yeah.
Episode 4, Dear Billy. Max starts seeing things related to Vecna's realm. Lucas finally hooks up with the crew because he was with the basketball crew too, like trying to hunt him, but he's kind of like leading them off their trail, and eventually he gets with Dustin and all of them and he's part of the gang again. California crew, besides Elle, is placed on house arrest and is guarded by these 2 detectives. Max, it's starting getting good. Episode 4 starting to get good for me. Max writes farewell letters to all her crew, including Billy, who's dead, and like just putting her heart out to them because she thinks she's gonna die. Nancy and Robin. Okay, I have a problem with Robin this season. Like in season 3, she seemed like the smarter, grounded character, but in season 4, they made her into a total dingbat. Did you guys get that, or I thought she was just an idiot?
I feel like she was underutilized this season compared to last, for sure.
Yeah, she like cracked the Russian code last season, and this season she's just like bumbling around.
It's like people really liked her in season 3, so they just tried to fit her into season 4. But if you watch the series as a whole, you'll see characters like they have big arcs one season and basically no arc the next season. I think this was kind of a down Robin season,
Like Nancy's mom, season 3, and then nothing season 4.
Like Will kind of this season doesn't do a ton, but we know next season is going to be like very Will centric. So it's up and down. I mean, Lucas got more to do this season than he did, previous season, and
yeah,
it's just give and take, I think.
I gotcha. Nancy and Robin convince a prison that they are college students and they want to write a thesis about murder and stuff like that. So they convinced the fucking warden of all people to let them interview the dude that was the Victor guy, played by Robert Englund, who was the first victim of Vecna. And he explains what happened, and we kind of have a flashback with his family getting murdered as well. Hopper, he attempts to escape by breaking his own leg, but it's not that broken because he can run fine. And then 2 episodes later, he's cool. But he's betrayed by Yuri. And then the cop that set up the whole thing is thrown in prison with him too, played by a Game of Thrones fan favorite who Steve named Nameless, something like that.
No face.
No face. There you go. He's a guy that sounds like this. Are you okay, America? That's that guy. Joyce and Murray meet Yuri, and he fucking betrays them too. So this fucking piece of shit Yuri's like, I can get more money if I give 2 Americans that are wanted by Russian government. So he fucking takes them in hostage, and they fucking go to Russia so he can pawn them off as well. Is this the scene where Murray knows karate? This same episode?
I think it's the one after this.
One after that?
Yeah.
We'll get there. Max is doing her farewell tour, so she goes to Billy's grave where she sets the letter to him, apologizing and blah blah blah. That's when we have a vision that Vecna gives her of Billy. He uses Billy against her, and that like he's about to get Max. He's about to kill her, and then the friends come and save her by bringing her, like, I guess, getting her attention back to the real world by putting her favorite song on her ears. So it, like, snaps her back to reality or whatever, and that's how she kind of avoids Vecna for forever. Then meanwhile, one of the weirdest fucking scenes ever, the evil soldiers break into the fucking house with the kids, with Mike and all them, and attempt to murder them. They kidnap a police officer and torture him. And then there's a fucking really awesome but extremely out of place shootout between one of the cops and like the soldiers. It was like first person view. It's like, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you're telling me like a military unit in like suburbia is assaulting a house and killing cops, and like it's fine, nothing happens. I was like, come on, man. Running up the hill scene. I don't know what you meant by that, Steve.
That's the famous the scene where we think Max is about to die, and she's like gets trapped by Vecna, and the kids are trying to like find the tape of the best song to save her, and then at the last second she escapes the hands of Vecna. She even like rose and everything, like above Billy's grave and stuff like that. So this was like the most famous probably moment of the entire, well, up until I guess the final episode. This was probably the biggest moment of the series, is this song's playing. And also the episode where the girls meet Victor, played by Robert Englund, and he explains that he says that he was driven insane by Vecna, and it's the reason that he kind of went insane. But you find out later what really happened, but that's his version of the story.
Can I say that I hate the pizza boy, long hair?
Oh
pizza
yeah,
boy. I hate him.
Hate him.
Hate him?
We haven't mentioned him before. Yeah, but yeah, he's easily my least favorite character.
What's it, Pizza Dude or Pizza Pirate or whatever their fucking pizza place is?
I don't even know. I don't care either.
And then Jonathan's a fucking loser, man. In this season, he's a straight up loser. Like, what's Nancy seeing him? But yeah, this one, it started getting good for me, but I still have in my notes that I was just not feeling it. I think I remember telling Steve, like, I don't like this show. But yeah, I thought Robin is stupid now. I thought the police shootout was cool, but out of place for what the show is. And then it did tug at my heartstrings though when Max was like about to die, and I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna kill her off right now. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this, holy shit, like just you talking about, I mean, that was like I think like a 10-minute description right there of the episode. Cause yeah, I mean, they packed a complete opposite of the last episode. They packed a fuckload into this episode. A great episode, but I have one massive issue with this episode. Massive. So I thought Robert Englund was great, like for his like very minimal role in this. I loved seeing him as Victor Creel. I wish we got a little more of him, but I understand they had to pack a lot in there. So I thought he did great for what they gave him to do, and it was great to see. As far as the whole Max stuff leading up to it was great. You knew she was in trouble. That scene that you had mentioned with the mother was really good when, Vecna kind of plays the mother against her type thing there. That was really cool and really creepy. And yeah, and then we get into my biggest issue with this episode. I thought the Max scene was amazing. Like, it was fantastic. Like, the way she is stuck in there and running, and the friends are seeing, are trying to get her to come back and whatnot. And you see her lift into the air in, after talking to Billy and saying all of her goodbyes and stuff like that. It is just such an impactful scene and was amazing. Where I think it fails is I think they should have killed Max in this moment. I think it would have shown that Vecna is a legitimate threat and that he can kill anyone. And they failed to do it. And we'll get into it later in the season. And honestly, it might be for like not, because Max is not looking good by the end of this series. And, we'll get into that later. But I think that would have been the perfect moment to do it. And I think that they dropped the ball. I will say, I still think it was a great episode, but I just wish they had just killed off Max in that moment. I think it would have been great, a great moment. I mean, sad obviously for the character, but I think it would have elevated this show.
Yeah, I agree that this episode was fucking stacked. There's so much to love about this episode. I like the California stuff. I actually thought this was the most interesting California episode there was, because there's so little that they do over there, which is part of the reason why I also don't like the pizza guy, because he's kind of pointless. He doesn't really do much during the season. Like
He
doesn't.
drives.
He drives. Yeah, he's a driver from place to place. Like maybe they'll give him more next season, but for right now,
He's the comedic relief, pretty much.
yeah,
Or
kind of, right?
Supposed to be.
So I like the whole like escape scene. I thought that was really cool, where they're with the cops and everything. Although it was random because we didn't care about those cops. They didn't establish them really, so them dying really meant nothing to us. I love the whole Victor Creel scene. I think it's cool that they used Robert Englund to play him. It's like the filmmakers nodding, like, yes, we know this season is very much reminiscent of Nightmare on Elm Street, so we hired Freddy Krueger himself just to prove, like, yeah, we get it. This is a Nightmare on Elm Street type season, and we love that series. So this is our nod to it. That's very like in your face, and it's perfect for Robert Englund. Like I've said in the past, I don't think he's the greatest actor, but give him little roles like this that are impactful like this, I think it worked really great. Like he really did his role really well. He looked really cool with his eyes kind of being sewn shut and stuff like that. So I thought that was a really cool scene. And very unpopular opinion there by Joe, and I completely agree with it. That scene was so good, so well done. The way they filmed it, the music and everything, I would have kept it exactly the same because it was fucking perfect, right down to the point where she escapes from him once the music starts and she's running away, and then he like turns around. He doesn't chase her. He kind of just gives this little like smirk, and he does throw like some rocks at her and stuff like that, but it would have been really cool if you think she's about to escape, and then it like cuts to black, and you don't even have to see it. You just hear the bones breaking and the body fall. Episode over. That would have been the best fucking episode ever, because one of my issues with this show is that I never feel like anyone's in danger. We're in season 4 now, and they have yet to kill off like a major character. They keep bringing in new characters to kill off. They kill off Bob. They killed off the cool Russian dude from last season. They need to kill a big character that they didn't just bring in that season to make you feel like, okay, Vecna is not like all the other ones. This is the one you don't fuck around with. And I didn't want it to be Max because I do really like the Max character, but it would have been so much better if they'd killed her there, and then you wouldn't have felt the weight of the season just being way better. But unfortunately, she's fine, and it continues. Still a great scene, still a great episode, but I agree with Joe. I think it could have been so much better.
All right, brings us to episode 5, the Nina Project. Elle makes it to the facility. I got a little bit ahead of myself. Now she meets Papa. Which, come on, man. After all she's been through, she's going to trust this guy again. It's ridiculous. But she has a change of heart, tries to get out of there because he's like, nah, man, you can leave whatever you want. Cool. And then that was a lie. She tries to get out of there, gets knocked out, and is forced into trying to get her powers back again. Hopper ends up back in prison. Now he's got a hard-ass fucking warden on his ass at all times. Joyce and Murray finally get captured. And it turns out Murray has been a black belt in karate, and he fights teenagers, and he ends up beating up the freaking Russian guy and turning the tables on them. Max draws Victor Creel's house. So she was in there in the division, right? So now she has insider information, and now they're trying to starting to see stuff that like some patterns, right? They see a clock tower or like a grandfather clock. Meanwhile, one of the basketball crew, he starts getting visions too, and he sees the clock as well. So now we know who the next victim is going to be. Elle, now we're getting more in her childhood, where we go back to the original facility where she's 11 and have the rest of the group of kids. They introduce this who we think is an orderly. That's kind of creepy, right? He gave you guys creeper vibes, right? I'm not the only one. and he's like kind of taking around the wing, and they're just doing experimentations and trying to get the kids to not fight each other like crazily, but see which one's stronger, things like that. They somehow get a fucking number from a pen off the cop's body, which didn't make any sense to me the way it played out in that scene. The basketball team's pissed. They're fucking ready. They're going after Hellfire Club now. They're gonna get their ass, right? The gang, they all go to Krill's house and they find the clock from the vision. So now they're connecting it where they're putting stuff together, like Krill's house in real life is kind of like a portal almost to Vecna's little hidden lair. So they try to figure that stuff out. The group in California, after dumping the cop's body in a fucking shallow grave, was completely terrible. They decide that they need to go to Susie, Dustin's girlfriend, to crack a code. Joyce and Murray defeat Yuri, like I said earlier, and escape. And then Vecna kills the basketball guy. All right, so the basketball crew finally catches up with Eddie. He's fleeing, right, in a boat across the lake. And the main basketball guy jumps in the water and fucking starts swimming like Michael Phelps, catching up to him. I thought that was hilarious how good of a swimmer he was. I know he's in shape and everything, but it was just a funny scene to me. But then the basketball, his partner is killed on the lake in front of the basketball guy and Eddie. So now the basketball guy is like convinced that Eddie has fucking demonic powers or a pact with the devil or something, and he ends up coming later and telling the town that. But another brutal kill, same kill we've seen though. But it definitely started to heat up in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked all of the story with Elle here and the backstory, and we're starting to see, like, you know, her when she was younger and stuff like that. I thought that was cool. And I liked, I mean, you know, we're getting more with Eddie now and all the Hellfire Club stuff and stuff. I mean, was this the episode where they visit Susie's house?
In the next one,
mentioned the next episode.
They
also
say they're going there, but they don't.
They're going to Susie's. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We also got more Hopper stuff too in this one, where he talks about his Vietnam service, and which I thought was completely out of nowhere too.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. I mean, I do like this. I do kind of like the Russian dude, not Yuri, but the, you know, his like
Dimitri
buddy, Dimitri. Yeah. I mean, I thought he was like fine. I thought he was like a good character for like that. Like I said, I don't really love that whole storyline. We're not really talking about it much, which is with good reason. But, you know, I do think he was like a decent, you know, character for that, and kept it, you know, parts of over there interesting. But yeah, other than that, I don't really remember much about this episode. So yeah, I don't got much to say about it.
Yeah, you know, this is kind of like episode 3. Like it's another episode where they're sending people to where they need to be so they can set up a future episode. So we went from filler to like really crazy episode to filler once again, because now you have you have to bring Hopper back into prison with Dimitri. Now you need to get the California crew to Utah so they can somehow involve Susie, because people liked her, so they had to involve her to the series somehow. You know, it's like almost like they're checking off boxes. Like, did they really need to go to Utah to get Susie? You know, they couldn't have just like called her or something. I don't know. It seemed like an unnecessary side trip. It's like they really didn't know what to do with those characters, so they just drive them from place to place for absolutely no reason. Yeah, there wasn't a ton, you know, to watch in this episode. We see Vecna kill the basketball kid, but we've seen it, you know, kind of 3 times, but really twice, exactly the same way. And it's funny because when I first saw it, and you know, both Eddie and the head of the basketball team see it happen, I thought he would be on Eddie's side after that. Like, okay, wait a minute, you know, this isn't you doing this. This is obviously something else. I didn't see it coming that he would think that Eddie is actually really powerful because of this. It made, like, I saw it the opposite way. So it was interesting that they went that way.
Yeah, I thought he's gonna help him.
Me too, because I mean, at what point is this story important, right? I was thinking like, who cares about the basketball crew when the world's gonna fucking end? You know, it's like such a useless side story. But they kept going with it, and they went in some interesting stuff later, which we'll talk about in the like final and stuff. But I thought that was an interesting thing. But other than that, not a whole lot to talk about in this episode.
All right, episode 6, The Dive. We're getting more flashbacks with Elle's first day in the laboratory, whatever you want to call it. And Papa says basically, hey, to get powers back, you have to like open up your fucking pass because like you're blocking something. So he has I want to see his VHS collection because he opened up his VHS collection. He had a bunch of tapes in there. Looked really cool. Let's see. The cops tell everybody that Eddie is a suspect, which makes it better or worse for everybody else. The crew finally makes it to Susie house, where I was like, what the fuck is this Susie's house of shit? I hated this part. I hated the Susie arc. I hated it fucking 100%. Turns out the Russians have a fucking Demogorgon or whatever the fuck you want to call it somehow locked up in the prison, and they're not doing experiments on it. They're just fucking around with it. So Hopper and a bunch of prisoners are going to fight it gladiator style. But before that, they start fattening them up so they have energy to fight the thing off. The gang finally reunites with Eddie, who escaped the lake, and the cops don't think to look in the fucking forest for Eddie ever, and he just hides out by a Skull Rock or whatever the hell they called it. Meanwhile, the basketball leader, he does another speech, this time at the town hall, and he tells everybody, he passes around flyers, hey, the Hellfire Club, they're demonic, Eddie's a fucking demon, whatever he says about them. Now the parents of like Dustin and Mike and everything are freaking out because now their kids are being fucking hunted. The Cali crew, they convinced Susie to hack into something pretending it's a Nintendo, and I hated this scene. It was so pointless. You're right. Whoever said it, they could have just called her and got the information. It would have worked fine. I hated it. It was like Mr. Magoo's House of fucking Wonder Emporium in there or whatever. Erie brings Joyce and Murray to his church to try to make a plan to save Hopper. Susie also ultimately finds the location of the facility by hacking into it. And the gang figures out that each area that Vecna attacks, like in Eddie's trailer, is now a portal to the Upside Down. So now they're gonna hatch a plan to try to get in there and kill his ass. And then Steve, they like go to the lake, and he ends up diving into the fucking lake, swimming all the way to the bottom, gets sucked into a portal, and they're immediately attacked by fucking flying bats and stuff. But for all the ladies and guys out there, Steve goes shirtless. So that's a scene for everybody. And Nancy's giving Steve like the side-eye look, like, oh, I'm kind of liking this Steve guy again. Steve obviously is in love with Nancy. Robin's still pining over a girl that we see for like 2 seconds in the beginning episode and never see again until last episode or something like that, who ain't cute enough for her anyway. Yeah, but let me see my notes on it personally. I put, what the fuck is up with Susie's house of shit? How many speeches is Jason going to make? Oh, Jason's the basketball leader, by the way. And that's what I got.
I wonder if they named him Jason on purpose. Freddy versus Jason type
Ooh,
stuff going on.
Okay.
I did like that that speech though. Like I thought that was a cool scene, like the whole playing on the whole satanic panic thing again and stuff like that. So I did like that. It kind of brought the whole town into it, and there felt like there maybe was like a legit threat there. I despised the Susie's house scene. It was my least favorite part of the entire season. I thought it was fucking terrible. It was just so like zany, and it just did not feel like it just
Organic?
felt so out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just felt so forced, and it was just a bunch of bullshit. And I hated it. I don't like the Susie character anyway. Like I did not like, listen, like I understood the whole fucking Never Ending Story song in season 2, but it was so cringe. I fucking hated that too. So like nothing that Susie has ever done I've enjoyed like at all, and that just adds on to the I hate Susie character pretty much. I really liked the whole boat scene, them getting into the water and then finally getting sucked into this portal that they discover in the Upside Down. I thought that was really cool. It was really cool lighting too. I felt like on the water in this one particular scene as well. There was, I don't know, there was just some sort of like blue purplish lighting. I thought that looked really good in that scene. And I mean, I don't know, like do we care about Steve and Nancy getting back together? Because like I really don't give a shit. Like, but I guess some people might. But
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, I've never really cared for Nancy, to be honest with you. It's not a character that I really, maybe a little bit in season 1 because I felt bad. She lost her best friend and all that stuff. But since then, it's like they don't know what to do with this character, and they keep giving her these weird arcs that just don't matter. I agree with you guys. Like I said it before, the Susie stuff is just ugh, I didn't like it. And what was with the like little kids doing like plays and acting like they're choking each other and like foiling
Cowboy guy.
like foiling the dad like
Mm.
by tricking him so they can get on the PC. I mean, why? Like, it was so stupid. It just, I didn't understand that scene at all. I thought it was interesting that the Russians like feed the prisoners so they can fight the Demogorgon. Almost reminded me of a Squid Game when they feed like the final three before they do their final battle. It's just a really interesting thing. I don't know what it is in this show in like Fight Club, but you have them, they're preparing to fight the Demogorgon. In this episode as well, that I don't think you mentioned, is when you see the kids in the past like fight each other with their powers in the facility, which Elle wins. She defeats like number one, and it's like a big deal. And that's how you figure out that she's the most powerful of all the kids. And yeah, other than that, again, this episode is just, you know, trying to get characters to where they need to be for the next episode. But now you know that the gang is in the Upside Down, so I knew it would get a lot better from here, and I was excited to see what came next. But this episode was not one of my favorites personally. It's just a lot of filler again, you know. It's just but the one thing I liked about the Susie thing is that they call it an American Tendo. That's the invention that they're trying to do, which I thought was hilarious. That is the only thing, that one line, the entire Susie storyline that I enjoyed. So yeah, it's too bad. It was stupid.
Yeah, I get giving Dusty a love interest, but come on, let's go a different route. Dusty Buns. All right, episode 7, the Masquerade at Hawkins' lab. So we catch up with Steve. He defeats the bat-like creatures. Elle finally goes back, and we know what happens, right? And I don't think she wasn't competing against one, right, Steve? One was like the orderly. She was fighting someone else.
There was like a powerful
there was a powerful one, but it wasn't one, because
he wasn't one, because I thought the orderly was like not a number.
I thought he was one.
No, he was one. That's right. I don't remember who. There was a powerful kid though.
I think it's just a dude.
Yeah, it's just a show basically. She was the most powerful of the kids.
Yeah,
I thought it was one.
No, because one was the orderly, and he got banished because he killed everybody. Because remember, his powers were suppressed, and he needed Elle to get the whatever was in his neck. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, right.
Let's see. The cops finally catch up with Dustin, Max, and Lucas, interrogate them. Hopper and the prisoners fight the Demogorgon. It doesn't go well, and it escapes, right? The gang look for weapons upside down to take down Vecna, so they come to a conclusion that, hey, like, stuff's, if it's in the real life, then it's in upside down too. And Nancy's like, I got a gun. And like, why do you have a gun? He's like, I have a gun. And I agree. Nancy and Jonathan are probably my least favorite characters in this show. The kids make contact by utilizing light, like Will did in part 1. So now they're able to communicate upside down. Meanwhile, Joyce and Murray get into the prison by pretending to be Yuri. So Murray, as you guys know, he speaks Russian. So he pretends to be the smuggler and then smuggles everybody into the prison so they can hatch a ploy to get Hopper out of there. And I love Murray. He's probably one of my favorite characters that they introduced that thankfully didn't get killed off. His karate shit was pretty cringy, but I still love Murray overall. During the battle with the Demogorgon, Hopper had stolen some vodka and a way to make fire, and he's like, hey, fire will kill the fucking thing. So he ends up outsmarting the Demogorgon and rescuing the Russians that survived. Number 1 turns out to be Vecna. So the whole creepy orderly thing turns out that he is Vecna because he hatched up a escape plot or whatever with 11, but 11 turned on him. So he ends up going crazy and fucking killing all of the kids, most of the staff, until Elle confronts him in the lab and ends up like banishing him basically to the upside down. And that's how they discover this alternate reality. So now they went from wanting to use them as like super spies, assassins, whatever. And now they discovered that, oh shit, like 11 literally sent this guy into another realm, which I thought was really cool. I like that a lot. Kill his mom, blame his dad.
We see the backstory, which what actually happened to him with his powers. He kills his mom, and then he like falls over and then the cops come and they think it's Victor Creel who did all the killings, but it was really the son the whole time. So it was just framed.
Oh, I must have tuned that one out. Forgot about that completely. What'd you guys think, though? I thought it was definitely improving.
I thought it was a fantastic episode. This was, of course, the final episode of part 1, and then they released the other 2 episodes a month later. So I thought this was a great way to end the first part of the season. The reveal of one being Vecna, I honestly did not see coming. Like, I really didn't, and I thought they did a great job kind of hiding that. And then when it is revealed, it's like it was a really nice surprise, and it was really, an awesome reveal, I thought. Also too, that he was Victor Creel's son as well, I thought was great. And all of this haunted stuff happening in the house that we see in flashbacks and stuff was really him and in one's powers the whole time. So I thought that was all great. And Elle discovering that, I mean, that whole and I mean, this is the end of the episode pretty much, but like that whole like last 25 minutes was just really, really awesome. Can we just the CGI'd Elle though, like making her look little again, was really fucking weird, by the way. Like, it was really weird and creepy.
Was it her and they just minimized her? Or was it?
No, it wasn't. It was a kid with the face
Yeah.
CGI'd.
Minimized her would have been hilarious.
So it was like it was pretty bizarre looking. And me and Sam kept laughing every time like it would come on because it was just so fucking weird looking. But what can you do? But I loved all of that. I loved everything that was going on in the Upside Down with them communicating with each other through the lights and all that. So yeah, I mean, overall, I thought this was definitely one of the best episodes of the entire season.
Yeah, I agree. Knowing this was the last episode before was like a month hiatus before we got the final 2 episodes, I knew there'd be something big that would happen at the end of the episode, and it was cool to kind of finally get to know exactly who Vecna is and what the attachment is with that group and everything like that, and to the Upside Down. So that was really cool. This is one of the only episodes where I was actually invested in what was going on with Hopper, which is a shame because I do like the Hopper character, but I felt his whole story was kind of a waste this season. But the fight with the Demogorgon was cool. The Demogorgon, it just brings you back to season 1, right? It's like the classic Stranger Things monster that you think about when you think about this show. So it's cool to see one and remind us just how fucking dangerous these things are. I mean, it plows through the majority of the prisoners and stuff like that. And I liked, his kind of strategy to defeat it because he's been through this rigmarole like a few times now at this point. It was also cool seeing all the people in the Upside Down kind of fighting the bats and doing stuff like that. And now Nancy's stuck in the Upside Down at the end of the episode. We don't know. She's there alone because the rope breaks and stuff like that. So we didn't know what was going to happen with her. And I loved everything with how Vecna came to be, and how you see him kind of melt away and become Vecna. And I thought that was really cool.
I love that whole sequence.
Yeah, it was
really
super
neat.
cool. So yeah, it was a great episode. It was a good way to end the first part of the season before we got the last 2 episodes a month later.
All right. That leads us in episode 8. Papa. Vecna, Nancy, like Steve just mentioned, is trapped, and Vecna shows her what's going to happen. So he's like, fucking tell Elle, dude. The Russians are fighting the Demogorgons. They're just going ape shit. It turns out that they have a bunch of Demogorgons and they've been experimenting on them. And they also have a mind flayer. There you go, whatever. But Elle got her powers back because she went through her reawakening, so she's good to go. Nancy tells the gang what's going on. Will finally notice Will has a heart-to-heart with Mike about what's going on and how they miss each other and all that bullshit. The gang conjures up a convoluted plan to kill Vecna. I didn't follow along. I was like, I'm just gonna watch what happens at this point because I don't know what their fucking plan is. Hopper and crew, they finally escape. So they escape the gang, the prison, and they go back to the church, and they have to devise a way to get out of Russia now, which is another challenge. Eddie uses a Michael Myers mask before the group. so they can walk around, and they steal a camper so they can start driving to try to meet up with Elle. Yuri has a helicopter, but he's kind of withholding the repair of it because he's still a piece of shit, but faceless man, whatever you want to do, is kind of convincing him to be a cool guy. The gang goes to a fucking store where 18-year-olds can buy shotguns and pistols, and maybe that's what's wrong with our country right now. And then I don't know, man. There's a lot going on in this episode. The b-ball team's there. These high school students are buying fucking pistols. They're gonna go trying to execute people in the streets. It's crazy. Papa holds Elle captive because Papa's a piece of shit. We all knew that, right? And he's like knocking her out, things like that. Elle gets a Running Man type collar, so if she tries to escape, it'll blow her head off. Then the military, the black dude from earlier that killed the cops, finds this complex, and they assault it, and they start fighting over Elle, basically, where Papa finally meets his death by getting sniped a bunch of times. But Elle uses her force powers from Star Wars to take out the helicopter, and then much to everyone's chagrin, pizza pirates show up and they save the day, right? That's it. What you guys got?
Good episode. Yeah, I thought this one was pretty good as well. There's a lot of action going on in this one. Obviously, we're finally getting to the big finale that we know is coming with Vecna. But there's a lot of good stuff. The stuff with Elle and Papa, obviously, probably the most interesting and compelling, I would say, in this episode. I really like Matthew Modine as an actor, so seeing his demise was a little sad, even though I know the Papa character maybe isn't a
Go watch Full Metal
one.
Jacket again.
I know, right? A Joker. But yeah, I thought there was definitely some emotion there when Papa finally dies, although Elle just did not give two fucks. Even, he gives like this real heartfelt message. Do we think it was genuine? Do we not think it was genuine? Elle clearly does not think it was genuine. Probably. Yeah, well, she's probably right about that. But I really like that scene. I thought it was a good death for that character. And yeah, and I really liked the prison escape too. I thought that was one of the better scenes of the entire Russia storyline. I thought that was really good and entertaining. And then I haven't really mentioned it, but I did kind of like the Yuri character. I thought he did bring some good comedic moments to the show. And I agree, Todd. I do like Murray a lot too. I mean, I know we're kind of shitting on that Russia storyline, but I do like a lot of the actors involved. Obviously, Winona's great and Hopper's great and all that. I just wish they were utilized better this season, I suppose.
Yeah, this is like the loading up episode. Like, before Schwarzenegger goes to his big battle in all his films, he finds some like hole that has 1 million guns in it, and he just like loads up for the final scene. This was basically that version of the episode where it's just them getting ready. The actual kids are going into this fucking store just full of guns, which is so American to me. Like we don't have anything like that here. And they just go wild, like fucking kids are buying guns like nobody's business. And on the other end, Elle is getting her powers back so she can also do kind of her side of the battle. I loved her escape, although I have to say, so the Running Man collar really didn't do anything. Like, why even bother putting it on her if you're not really going to use it for anything? I don't know. It just didn't work for me. Like, maybe if she had it on the whole time, I could have seen like why it was useful. But to give it to her this episode and then just take it off like a few minutes later, it's just like, okay, so why even bother? So I didn't really get that. Although her taking down the helicopter was fucking badass. It's such a cool scene. Probably one of the best scenes of the California crew throughout the whole season. It was nice also getting to see Will and Mike have a heart-to-heart. Mike doesn't understand at all what's going on, but I like that Jonathan clues into what's going on. He's in the front seat and he kind of just listens in, and he can feel what Will's putting down. But Mike, he only sees them as a friend, so he's not really understanding, and that pays off in the next episode. It's just like a cool, fun episode. And this episode also teases a lot of deaths at the end of the episode. Like you kind of see characters almost kind of saying goodbye. And I thought a bunch of people would die in the final episode, and we'll see what happens when we review that episode. But I thought they were preparing us for a brutal, final episode. And I have to say, I love the Michael Myers scene. It made me laugh so much, and it was a nice callback to season 2 when Max is like, "Oh, I got something," because she had that mask for Halloween. That's what that was referenced to. So I thought that was a nice little easy, cool callback. And what they should have done for Susie should have been a callback, not a fucking entire episode. So yeah, it was a good episode, but it was definitely like the lead up to something bigger, and you can tell.
Yeah. So I do kind of want to touch on the whole Will being gay storyline in this season. Like, was that ever like touched on in previous seasons, and maybe I just didn't pick up on it?
Number 3 was because they were
Okay.
all talking about girls a lot, and he's like, "Come on, guys, can we just play D&D?" Which could have been like he's still like a nerdy thing, but you can tell he was kind of looking at Mike a little bit differently.
Okay.
Yeah, not as in your face as this season though.
Right. Yeah, I just didn't pick up on it, and I do think that was like a really interesting kind of storyline into this season, and I think obviously they're going to touch on it a lot more next season. But yeah, I mean, I thought that scene with him and his brother in the pizza shop was really good and really heartfelt. So I did enjoy that moment as well.
Yeah, that's in actually this episode 9, the piggyback. Everything's coming together. They hatch a plan where Elle is gonna go into Max's kind of mind thingy to help her fight Vecna. So they make a big salt bath and a pizza party, fucking another pizza shop that the stoner guy, "Hey man, I'll fucking watch your thing," and whatever. So they make a salt bath for her to get ready for the fight. Meanwhile, in Russia, Joyce has a Hulk Hogan shirt that Steve wanted to mention. And oh man, Joyce getting changed. Winona's looking good. Let's go say that. I rewound that later on when I was by myself. Max, Lucas, and Erica go to the Krill house to set up the assault on Vecna. But the B-Ball crew catches wind of it too, and they're going to go meet up at the Krill house too. And something's going to go down there. Hopper decides that like, hey, we need to go back to prison for whatever reason, I forget. Steve tells Nancy that he's fucking still into her, but she doesn't reciprocate. So we're kind of like left with Steve being in the dark again. He can't get a girlfriend ever. Will and Jonathan finally talk, but Jonathan's like, hey man, like he doesn't come out and say anything that he's gay and he knows or anything. But he's like, hey, like I'm always there for you. If you need to talk to me, let's talk. So they know about that. Elle finally joins up with Max, and Max goes to her like happy place, which is from part 3 where she's at the dance. Season 2, where she's at the dance with Lucas. So that's like her little safe space from Vecna for now. And then everyone just comes to fucking together. Like they're doing their assault on Vecna. They're trying to hash their plan out. Meanwhile, the basketball crew assaults the house and captures Erica, who kind of slows down their plan. Lucas starts fighting Jason in the fucking house while they're trying to fucking save Max's life. So you're like, fucking Jason, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like fist fighting like crazy. Part of the plan too is to distract all the bat creatures in the Upside Down. So Dustin and Eddie are tasked with that because they both admit like, hey, we're not heroes. Like we're not gonna go out and fight like Steve and you guys are. We'll stay back and we'll do the distraction, which leads to either you loved it or you hated it. I've seen it both ways, but I personally loved Eddie playing Metallica in the Upside Down. That was fucking really cool, but I can understand why people think it's cringy, but I liked it. And that's kind of Eddie's arc too. Like he is a slacker. He doesn't put his neck out for people too much. I mean, I know he takes people under his wing for the Nerds Club and things like that. But that kind of leads to him like being like, you know what, I'm not the hero, but I'm going to put myself out there for the gang because they put themselves out there for him the whole time, right? Vecna starts fighting, right? And I'll kind of leave it at that because there's a lot to unpack in this episode. It's 2.5 hours long, right? And like it never ends, similar to Lord of the Rings Part 3. It's like, when the fuck are they? Like it'll fade, they'll talk and they'll fade out. I'm like, all right, it's over. No, another character has to talk. Like, gosh damn, what's going on? But I will touch on the very end where Hawkins is like completely destroyed essentially, and like cracks in the fucking universe open up all around the town, and Max fucking for everything that happened with her, gets every fucking bone broken in her body, and it's like, holy shit. Like, which I agree with you guys. Like, if that was her final arc in this one, why not just kill her off? Like, poor girl. Like, holy shit. Because we have the heartfelt scene with Lucas and asking her out, and Max is finally gonna let someone back into her life after losing Billy. She says yes and draws a little nice picture, things like that. And then for that to happen to her, it's kind of shitty. And then we'll touch on Hopper meeting up with Elle later and all that shit. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot to unpack here. I mean, overall, I liked it. I didn't love it. And I'll, we'll get into it. I'm sure as we go, because I'm sure there's a lot of things I'm going to be forgetting as we go along as well. But I mean, loved Eddie's scene. I fucking loved it. I mean, that whole Metallica Masters of Puppet scene, iconic. I mean, it's cliche, but it was. I mean, it was just a fucking awesome scene with the fucking bats and the lightning and the music, and it was perfect. It was really a perfect scene for him, and I mean, clearly one of the most iconic scenes of the entire season for good reason. Him dying, I mean, I think it was to be expected, right? Someone had to die, and they weren't going to kill a main character, which is, like, once again, my biggest problem with this whole franchise is that they're afraid to kill a main character off. And I mean, they had a chance again to do it with Max. Is Max dead? Is Max not dead here? Who the hell knows?
Probably should be after getting everything broken. Like,
yeah, I mean, there was that scene where 11 goes back into, and she, like, can't find her or whatever. So people think maybe she's brain dead or whatever. I mean, who knows? Really, we'll find out. I think she's not gonna. I think she's gonna come back some way, somehow next season. I think 11 will find a way to save her or something like that. We'll see. But yeah, so my biggest problem here is just, like, it just didn't feel big enough for the finale for me. Like, great. There was big moments, but the fight with Vecna was, like, very underwhelming. And I feel like this was just kind of like a bridge to next season, obviously, because Vecna isn't dead. Clearly, he's coming back next season, which is supposed to be the final season of Stranger Things, for the Stranger Things original timeline. We're going to be getting spinoffs, obviously, and stuff like that, which I've already announced. But yeah, I mean, it was a decent finale. Was it amazing? No, but I thought it was, it was still very good. But I just hope next season they have the balls to kill a main character. And actually, Millie Bobby Brown, the lead actress, came out and criticized her own show, saying, I do think the show needs to take more risks and they should kill bigger characters. To which the Duffer Brothers said, this is Hawkins, not Westeros. Well, my argument to that is Game of Thrones is a much better show than you, because they had the balls to kill off big and major characters. And your show will never get to that point unless you have the balls and are going to kill off one of your big or main characters. And we'll see what happens next season. I hope they do. I hope they get the balls and they can do it. And it's not just them bringing in newer characters to kill off. But we'll see. And that's all I'll say for now. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of stuff because it was a big episode, but I'll jump in later.
I really liked this episode. I thought it was actually really great. There's a lot to unpack in this episode. It's a movie, right? It's 2.5 hours, so we could technically do a whole review on this episode alone. I like how the characters kind of, in each their own way, had their own part of the plan to defeat Vecna. Now, I do find that the California crew, including 11, kind of phoned it in, like almost literally. So that it just proved that whole story arc was really pointless. Like, the whole point of them was to eventually get 11 in a bath and, kind of help out from a distance. Was just, I felt cheap to me. Didn't feel like all that important. And the Russian storyline, what did it add to the story? Nothing. Like, I cannot think of a single thing that entire storyline, except for getting Hopper back, I guess, into the fold. What did we need? What need to see a whole season of them, like, fucking around in Russia just to get Hopper back? It just felt really not important. Like, it didn't do anything. I did like the Hogan shirts, which is why I mentioned it specifically in my notes. But
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I think like I said, Hopper should have either died in season 3 because that was a really good moment where he looks at looks at Joyce and does a nod and dies, or he's not in this season at all, season 4, and Vecna is like a fuck you moment to everyone where he has him in like some kind of stasis thing because he escaped to the portal, and that would have been cool because he knows the connection to L and all that. I think that would have been a more interesting arc for him instead of fucking Russia, of all places right now in the world too. Like it, I agree, it didn't add a single thing to it other than comedic stuff for Joyce and what's his face Murray, and then Hopper coming back to meet L, which could have been so much better if they played it a different way. They had a different arc with him. Yeah.
Yeah. I did love the Master of Puppets scene. I thought that was fucking brilliant. It's such a cool, iconic moment. Right up there with the running up the hill scene in episode 4 with Max. I really, really love that. One of the stories I was personally really invested in that I didn't realize was the basketball crew going after Lucas. Like I thought maybe, the whole time you think Max is going to die and they end up killing Lucas or something. But again, they didn't do any of that. And they disposed of the kid that they brought in like really quickly. He just gets cut in half by the portal, which was kind of a cheap death. Like this whole season, you're setting him up as the villain, and he kind of just dies as part of the environment. Like he's not killed, he's not nothing. Like there's no redemption for him. I don't know. It just felt like such a waste of character by just killing him off that way. I thought it would have been more interesting if Lucas killed him and then felt bad for it, or he had some kind of redemption, but instead it was just him just dying.
From Jason's perspective, like he's not wrong. You know what I mean? Like vigilantism, whatever you want to say, him going after the kids is wrong. But like from his viewpoint, like his girlfriend was murdered in this dude's fucking apartment, and like they can't, and he seems like the cops aren't doing anything about it, and he can find a way to get him. Like you kind of feel for Jason, and I agree, like no arc whatsoever. He just fights Lucas and then dies.
And Lucas, not Eddie. Like I get it with Eddie, but Lucas, like that he's because he's friends with him and kind of hides him. Does that warrant him being killed? I don't know. Like it seems far fetched for a storyline for him to go. I mean, maybe that's like the thinking, but if it was Eddie, I'd get it a little bit more because he does think that he killed his girlfriend, but it wasn't. It was Lucas, so it was a weird kind of thing there. So I thought that was a little cheap. I like the L and Max stuff, but it did feel a little phoned in too at the same time, like because L wasn't actually there and they're kind of just meeting in her mind. I was surprised that they went with kind of breaking her apart. So they finally, we think, kill a main character, right, by killing Max. And like 4 minutes later, they resurrect her. It's like, come on, like and it goes back to it doesn't feel as the stakes are as high because they keep not killing main characters. Now, is she dead? Is she alive? We don't really know. She is technically alive, but maybe she's she's brain dead. We really don't know what's going on with the character, but it's just so cheap. Like either kill her or don't. Kill her preferably, or don't. So that was kind of cheap. And then you have all the stuff at the end, but I was just disappointed, I guess. Oh, and Eddie dies, which was sad. But again, it's a character they brought in for this season to get killed. Now, is he dead?
No, here's my thought.
Probably not.
Here's my thought. I think Vecna's going to resurrect him somehow, turn him against the crew, and then he'll have an arc where he comes back as a nice character again. But I don't think they were aware how cool he was going to be received, or how well he was going to be received, like turning into like one of the best characters in the show. I don't think they predicted that. So they're probably like, fuck, shouldn't have killed him off.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I mean, he's everyone. Like he did a con, like, and like fucking they undersold him, and like he was like the biggest draw, like bigger than like Robert Englund was, that weekend. So he's definitely the hottest thing. I mean, look how many fucking Hellfire shirts you're seeing everyone buying now and stuff. Like, it was just the biggest thing, and which is great. I mean, great for that actor, great for that character. I hope they don't bring him back. Honestly, like he died. Like if you're gonna bring him back, I guess bring him back as an evil character, like Vecna resurrects, but don't like have him come back like good again. Like how the hell could he like get resurrected to be alive again?
So the rumor is that there's a D&D character that's an ally to Vecna, like the D&D character Vecna, that's a vampire, And since he got killed by bats and he had bats on as a tattoo in his arm, that he's going to come back actually as a villain, as a vampire. And maybe
That would be
after
cool.
he'll get saved, but at least
Interesting.
initially he'd be a villainous vampire that helps Vecna.
How could he get saved though if he was already dead?
Maybe
Like, is there a way to
Vecna
bring him
has
back
He's
from the upside
undead,
down?
Joe. Undead.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, but
undead.
he
That's right.
died.
I think that
I
was a cool
mean-
scene though, where he like has like the shield and it's like the bats and shit. That was cool.
Mhm. No, that was awesome. My other big problem.
Oh, sorry.
is,
One
like-
second.
No, go
I
ahead.
love the scene too where Eddie grabs Dustin and is like, "Don't ever change, man." It was like, that's I think where I fell in love with Eddie for sure. When he grabs him, is like, "Don't ever change," because such a innocent kid and stuff. It was really nice.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Eddie. I mean, you can see why everyone loved Eddie this season. He was, great. My another big issue I had was like the whole Vecna 4. He had to have 4 victims, I think it was, that was supposed to open like this portal to hell type thing or whatever, and it happens, but it's like not that like impressive. Like only like 20 people in Hawkins died. Like I feel like the whole fucking city should have went underground or something and like completely taking out. Now, granted, you wouldn't have been a lot of people would have died, and they wouldn't have been able to kind of do that whole scene where they're trying to save, like do the whole city save at the end or whatever. But fuck that. Like have the whole city go under and just have the kids survive, and like just have them like, fighting Vecna and maybe trying to reverse what happened with the city or something like that for next season. But it just felt too small.
Yeah, the way that the city deals with it after, it's almost like there was like a leak in the town and they need to evacuate. They're like calmly in a fucking facility in the city, just like,
Right.
no, it's not this giant fucking hole to hell that opened up in the middle of your city. They're just like casually like helping each other out and having these little moments. Like, no. If this was real, they'd be out of that fucking city in like a huge panic, or people would have died, or
Robin's flirting with her potential girlfriend, making PB&J sandwiches. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're helping with clothes and
yeah, which is like, once again, like I just think, I don't know. I think it's all on the Duffer Brothers. Like I just think they're, I don't know, pussies.
Are they too attached to the characters, you think, to kill them off?
I mean, maybe, right? I mean, they've been writing for 5 seasons and stuff. I mean, I guess they're just not going for that angle, which, hey, like it's their story, it's their decision. But I mean, I'm allowed to criticize it, and I mean, I guess they're just trying to make it more like a Monster Squad type thing, where like, you don't want to see any of the main characters of the Monster Squad die, right? I mean, granted, this one's a lot more brutal than the Monster Squad, a lot more adult oriented, but at the same time, it is, I guess, a young adult show in a lot of ways. So they're maybe afraid to kill the main characters that way, but I don't know. I think you got to kill one. And my theory for next season is I think Elle is going to die, and I hope it happens, but maybe, I don't know if they'll have the balls to do it, but I think the perfect ending for next season is that of course we got a whole scene this season showing that 11 is the whole reason the portal reopened when she was a kid or whatever. Her brain or whatever was able to reopen this portal or whatever. It was whatever, they explained it somehow, some way, that way. I feel like she will realize the only way to close the portal is for her to die, and she'll like sacrifice herself to save her friends, which I think
exactly how season 1 ends. Like exactly.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Elle sacrifices herself by closing the portal.
Right.
We don't find out till later that she actually survived. Yeah.
Yeah, true. So
then Hopper sacrifices himself by closing the portal.
Right. In season 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it for real this time.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else before we get to questions?
Let's do questions.
All right. So we got some questions on all our social medias, and you can ask us these questions on our social medias at the Horror Squad Podcast, or of course on our Discord, where you can always. We had a lot of discussions too, a lot of fun discussions, especially around the time this episode came out. So if you want to be in on stuff like that, just join our Discord. First questions are audio, and they're from Chuck. Chuck, what is your first question?
What's up, Horror Squad? Chuck here with a few questions. First question: if you had to use one item in your house to battle a Demogorgon, what item would you use?
Shotgun. America.
I definitely don't have that. Huh. I don't know. I don't have anything that's too powerful in here that could take him out. I'll just go with a butcher knife, I guess.
I'd go with my battle axe. I guess is probably
There
the
you
best
go.
weapon that I have.
Is it real or is it like a
Well, I mean,
replica kind of thing?
it's made as a showpiece, but
You hit it and it fucking breaks.
it could fucking like fuck some
Yeah.
people up. It's very well made. So,
You've tried it out before on something, right?
of course, like on
Just make
fruits
sure.
and vegetables and stuff like that.
You're
Yeah.
doing Fruit Ninja.
Right, exactly. So that's what I would use. All right, Chuck, what is your second question?
If you were to play D&D, what would be your character class? Better yet, if you yourself were in D&D, what would other people characterize your class as?
Man, I don't have to pretend. I got my D&D character on my shelf over there. My D&D character his name is Leakis the Bearded, and my middle name is Lee, so Leakis. There you go. And he is a kind of like a Roman gladiatorial kind of guy, warrior a class. So that's my guy.
Nice. I've never played D&D at all. I don't really know anything about it. I have a couple friends that play, but I don't. Do they have goats? Can you be a goat?
Yes,
You can literally do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can be a centaur, dude.
I'd be
A
sinister
goat-tar.
Goat. There you go. I'd be a half goat, half witch hybrid.
Yeah, but which part's goat? The top half?
I'd be top half witch, bottom half goat. So I guess it'd be like a centaur, sort of.
I always play as a like Nord warrior, like in all the games that you get to choose and stuff like that, like Skyrim and stuff. So I guess which makes like Canadian warrior because Nord is north, so I guess it works out perfectly for me. Although I think I'd be more of a cerebral character rather than a warrior in real life. I'm not sure what that relates to exactly, but I guess I'm more wizard than warrior. So that would probably be my real life character. And Chuck, what is your last question?
Last question. Can we get some season 5 predictions? And do you think Mike will finally die? Like, he needs to go. Just saying. All right, guys. Look forward to the episode. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
People don't like Mike?
Nope, not at all.
Really? People don't like Mike? Why?
He's kind of a bitch, I guess.
I think he's just too whiny.
Yeah, he is whiny.
Jonathan's got to go. Nancy's got to go. 11, I think what Joe said was correct. She's going to sacrifice herself and actually sacrifice herself. Hopper needs to go too, though, because he can't be left alone again, losing another daughter. So maybe they're like, let's do it together, kid. And they fucking go off and do something.
Yeah, I'd say all the main kids are safe. If they're going to kill anyone, it would probably be 11, like the sacrifice route. Other than that, maybe Max will die officially, but other than that, I think everyone else is safe.
Yeah, I think maybe Will die. Maybe Mike. Elle is also on the chopping block. I think she might want to get her character killed. She seems like the type of person that wouldn't want to continue with this franchise going forward because she has probably the biggest career out of all of them ahead of her. I don't know. I don't know who to actually kill. So I guess we'll see. Next questions are from Patricia. Her first one. Did you guys think it was short, the Eddie kill? So do you think he died too fast, I think, is what she meant.
I mean, I thought it was fine, like, did he even have to die though? Like, I understand like the whole, like, I have to go back, but like he could have ran like and survived, like, I felt like it was kind of like for nothing. Like, did going back and running towards those bats really affect anything?
Didn't he do it to save Dustin?
Did it? Did he? I can't remember. I didn't think so. I thought Dustin would save.
No, he kind of distracted them so that Dusty could be saved. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'll allow that. Yeah, no, I was fine with it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because I like the character, but I kind of expected him to die as well because they brought him in. He might as well have worn a red shirt. You knew that they brought him in almost to kill him. It's just like one of those things that they do, like they have for the last 3 seasons, brought a character in basically just to kill them. So it sucks, but I guess someone had to die, so it had to be him, I guess. Her last question: what's your guys' theory that's going to be for season 5? So what do you think season 5 is about?
Vecna.
Yeah, I think Vecna. I think it's gonna be a lot like similar to this season, but everyone's gonna be together now. So it will be the whole like cast banding together to fight Vecna, which I think will be great. Like, you're not gonna have everyone in fucking different locations. Like, everyone will be able to, communicate together, have scenes together and stuff. So I think it will be good, and hopefully they really, do this show out the right way and give it the justice it deserves, because it's been a pretty good run.
Yeah, we do need to have a couple episodes back at Susie's house, so I need to
Oh God.
complete that arc.
And they're gonna bring the characters back from season 2 that completely disappeared there.
Oh my God, no! Please no.
But where's the teacher? Did the teacher ever die?
Teacher.
Which teacher?
The science teacher?
I don't
That
remember.
his
Oh
place
no, he's still alive.
like, where the fuck was he?
He's cool.
I know, he just disappeared. Like, where was he during this whole thing? Like, we're just watching movies? Like, I don't understand that.
Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, I think season 5 will basically be Avengers Endgame. It's like all the characters coming together to defeat the final evil. But is Vecna the final boss, or is the Mind Flayer the final boss? Because they kind of set up at the end that the Mind Flayer is the one behind it all. But then again, it's a big giant smoke monster, so maybe they need to physically beat Vecna to defeat the Mind Flayer. I don't know.
Maybe it'll be like everything, like, right? Like Vecna opened that portal, and now it's all the monsters from like all the seasons coming back out, and they're gonna have to fight like fucking everything. So yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. It'll be weird though, because they can't go back and just have like high school scenes, for the first 2-3 episodes to kind of set everything up, right? They have to go like straight into action as of episode 1. So it'll be interesting to see what they do without that to rely on for story and for like levity, because they can't make it fucking so dark that kids are like, Jesus, this is crazy. Like, they need to have some comic relief, or else it really wouldn't be Stranger Things. So I'm curious how they balance it out. Is it going to be by joking around? Is it going to be by, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I wonder how many episodes they're gonna do too.
It can't be too much, I would assume.
Right? I wouldn't think so either.
Like
maybe
6. Yeah, like 5 to 7 at the most.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna be
How do you
fucking long.
feel? By the way, yeah, I was gonna say, how do you feel about like 2.5-hour episodes? It's just like a gimmick, right? Like, why not just like split it? Like,
Make it 2 episodes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like an event for the finale. Like, we made it
yeah.
into an event. We had a like a special meal for it. I brought my niece over to watch it with us, and it was like a whole thing. Next question's from horror fan Ryan. Who's been your favorite character in the entire series so far?
Steve. I think he's got the best arc. From a little bully ladies' man to protector of the children to like, you want to see him succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think I might agree. I really like Steve too. I mean, all the kids are fine and stuff, but none of them like, I've really like clung on to and became like attached to. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Steve too.
Yeah, and that's 3 for Steve. Yeah, he has the greatest arc out of all of them. He went from being basically one of the villains from season 1, at least on the human side, and just becoming like such a cool, fun character. And he's complicated, and anyone you pair him up with elevates the other person. Like, it's just crazy. I'd give honorable mention. Like, I like Hopper, but I didn't like his arc this season. I like Dustin. I didn't really like his arc this season either. He didn't really do all that much. Lucas actually went up in my book a little bit this season. I thought he had a great season. They actually gave him like something significant to do.
I agree. In the last seasons, he's always kind of the annoying one, like mad about everything. And then this one, he was more grounded. So he actually elevated him, in my opinion, too.
Yeah.
I like Max too. She's a great actress.
She's a great actress.
I like Max a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, she was also great in was it Fear Street that she was in?
Fear Street. Yep.
She was in my favorite Fear Street episode. So, all right, next question is from King Lewiston. Oh no, sorry, he did not ask. He's answering one of Todd's questions, which is who played D&D. Did you guys play D&D when you were kids?
I didn't play it till I was an adult. I didn't even know what it was, honestly.
I tried it. It was too complicated. Like
It is.
video games are easier.
But you got to have someone that knows what they're doing, like to guide like the story and everything. Because if you like just reading from a script, it sucks. But if you have someone that one of my friends, like he fucking put hours into this. Like he wrote like a script and everything. So yeah, if you have someone like that, it's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Next question is from Weezerface. What song saves you from Vecna?
Oh man, I don't like have a fucking one favorite song ever. That's a tough one. Yeah, I don't know. Something by
something you have to listen to 40 minutes.
I'll just say Metallica, Master of Puppets.
I don't know. You got anything, Steve?
Yeah, I'd probably say Thriller by Michael Jackson because
nice.
It's got Vincent Price in it, and I just really love the horror vibe of that song, and it's just one I've been listening to since I'm a kid, so that would probably be mine. And if not, it would probably be something by Queen. Can't Stop Me Now probably would be my number one from them. So and it'd be a good song too because Can't Stop Me Now is also like a good response to Vecna, I guess. So I think that would be mine.
Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do next season with music because Kate Bush is like charting everything with her song.
Yeah. Same with Metallica.
Yeah.
All right. Next series of questions are from Lil 3 Me. What is your prediction for what we will see in season 5, which we already said, but what would you like to see happen in season 5 if you were directing season 5?
Vecna wins and everyone dies.
Ooh, bold move, Cotton. See how it pays off.
Yeah.
More Papa. Papa comes back. Paul Reiser. I really like Paul Reiser in this.
Yeah.
I actually think he's really genuine. Like he actually does care. What
happened to him? Is he still alive? Are we gonna see him next season?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Around,
we,
right?
we don't see him die, so he's in a facility though, so who knows if he actually
still kicking around.
Yeah, right.
No. I honestly don't know because I don't know where they're gonna go with it because literally like the upside down portal opened for the entire town. It's like you guys said, they can't fall back on the school stuff anymore. It has to be all about what's going on. So do we have like an epic battle? Do we have like a mini war? Does the government come help them? I really don't know. There's a lot of questions.
I want to see Robert England come back as Victor Creel and take down his own son, Vecna.
But he can't see anything. He just stumbles around, hits trees and stuff.
He gets 11 gives him the power to see again.
Oh yeah, well Max is blind, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, she's more than blind. She's brain dead.
Well,
so
yeah, I can know. She got her eyes sucked out and shit.
Yeah. She's in trouble.
Right. And I'm the same. I just want to see a big battle. And I hope there's a definitive end, something that like really closes the portals. And...
There's not. It's the last scene's going to be like the ground subtly shakes.
Right.
Something like that.
Right. Her last question is, which episode was your favorite this season?
Probably that fourth one. I think
one?
With Robert Englund.
Oh, Robert
the one where Robert Englund's in and Max's battle with Vecna and all that. That was a really good episode.
Yeah, I like the last episode was pretty good, and then the one where we see the flashback in its entirety, and then he gets Spanish. That was pretty cool.
That was Papa, I believe.
Papa.
Episode 8.
Papa.
Yeah, and I'm also episode 4. It was just like almost a perfect episode, just so good. It could have been perfect, but it was
almost.
Yeah, you guys really want to kill her off, man.
It's not her specifically. I just want them to kill someone off to
like
feel
redheads
the weight
or something.
Like I'd prefer it to be Will or Mike or Jonathan or Nancy. Like there's a bunch of characters I'd prefer it to be than Max. But if you're gonna kill someone off, I thought it was a perfect way to do it, and they check it out. Next series of questions are from Oddjob versus 007. Do you guys agree that 5 seasons are enough, or would you like to see it continue on?
You know, I was a very big proponent of they just need to end it, but I feel like because I felt like the first 3 seasons were all like the same. Like, but this season I felt like was a nice change. Like they brought in like a different type of villain and did some interesting things. So I think 5's fine, but I feel like this season kind of made me like hopeful that they could do like different stuff and keep it interesting. So I wouldn't have been upset had they announced a couple more seasons, but I'm good with it just ending at 5.
I mean, after they ended 4, you kind of have to end with 5. You know, where can they go
Yeah.
from this?
Right.
Yeah, I think this should be a close to the main storyline, but I think I like the world enough that spin-offs are like welcome. You know, if they have a good enough idea to do spin-offs, like if it's a Russian season, forget it. I don't want to fucking watch it. But if they somehow find a way to do some cool spin-off, I'm down for it. And that's the next question. How do you feel about a new spin-off show?
I mean, I'll probably watch it, right? Like I'll give it a shot anyway. Am I super excited about it? No, not really. But I mean, I guess it just depends on what it's going to be about, what character it's going to follow and whatnot. Is it going to be like a different universe? So yeah, I'm intrigued.
It's just gonna be Erica playing D&D. Have they started filming 5 yet? Because that's got to be
No, I
at
don't think
least
so.
3 years
No.
out, right?
Yeah.
These guys are gonna be like 25 years old by then.
Right.
Yeah, like what Joe said, just depends where they go. Like how much stuff can happen to Hawkins? You
It
know?
doesn't, I don't think it'd be in Hawkins, right? It'd be
No.
like a portal somewhere else, or
It's going to
who
follow
knows?
Susie and her family.
Right?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, no.
Yes.
Dusty Buns.
Susie's never-ending adventure. That's great. And his final question: how many of you spent an extended stay in Indiana?
Never been.
I have. It's got very beautiful scenery.
All right.
Yeah, I haven't either. Never been.
Yeah,
Even.
I've been to a couple cons too in Indianapolis.
That's right. Yeah, they got Horror Hound and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. I've driven through it. That's it.
There you go. It's better than me. I've never even near
Probably
it.
better than it.
But more importantly, how many have been to Atlanta where this show is filmed?
I've been to Georgia, but and I passed by Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I've never actually like stopped in Atlanta.
I've been at Atlanta Airport. That's about it.
Yeah.
I went to Savannah Airport, not Atlanta. So
Yeah. Atlanta's nice, kind of.
yeah.
Is this where they filmed this? They filmed this in Atlanta?
I film everything in Atlanta.
Oh, that and a Walking Dead.
Walking
huh?
Dead, yeah.
Walking Dead, all the Marvel stuff almost. So
Yeah,
it's
cool.
next series questions are from Marla, Creature Feature. Do you guys know how to play an instrument in real life? If so, what song would you play to distract the bats?
That's funny.
I
I saw a YouTube thing where they edited Eddie if he didn't know how to play guitar, and it's just like like he's someone that tries to struggle. You don't know how to play anything, Joe?
No, I wish. The recorder. I learned that in elementary school.
3 Blind Mice. Bam,
Yeah.
bam, bam. I took about 2 years of guitar lessons, but I'm not good at all. I played the trumpet for like 4 years, and I don't remember anything about it. So maybe I'll get the fucking trumpet out and start blowing into it and just hopping around on one leg and shit.
What songs did you play in the trumpet?
I don't know, whatever they did in junior high marching band.
Yeah, that wake up song.
The Bugles, yeah.
Yeah. For me, I played 6 years of saxophone. So
Oh, nice.
Sax on the beach.
So I guess
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. Oh, dang it, you beat me to it.
So I guess the Simpsons theme is like the one that I knew the most, because it was one of the more sax heavy songs that we would play in band. And also one of my specialties actually is the rock band drums, because I used to play rock band. I used to work on the video game, and drumming was my Drumming and singing were the two things that they'd make me do, I guess, the most often because I was the best at it.
Nice.
So yeah, that would be and that would be AC/DC because that's what I played. I worked on the AC/DC game of Rock Band.
Sweet.
You're like was it Kyle from South Park?
Yeah. And her last question: what weapon would you craft to fight?
Ooh. Good question. I would do like in From Dusk Till Dawn, the like chainsaw that was also a stake. You know, I don't know if you remember that, but it'd be something similar to that.
Nice. Some kind of blunt object, like a. Did Steve have his nail bat in this one?
I don't think he brought it in this season.
No? All right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, he had it last
that.
season.
Yeah.
But
I'll do a Negan bat.
There you
yeah, I agree. I think a Negan bat would probably be really efficient for these creatures. Next here's a question are from Caleb. Through 4 seasons, we've had some memorable characters who only lasted 1 season. Who would be your favorite of those so far?
Eddie.
Eddie, yeah.
Yeah, definitely Eddie.
Eddie, but honorable mention to the Russian dude from last season who was just like
Sergey.
I don't remember his name.
He drank the icy.
That's right. And he was like playing games at the carnival, and he was like watching cartoons all the time. He was hilarious. Alexei, that's right. Yeah, Alexei. He was great.
Let's not forget about Bobby.
And Bob.
Let's not forget about Bob either.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah. So
he got to make out with Winona Ryder, man.
Yeah,
Bastard.
he did. Next question: would you bring back Robert Englund's character next season? And has this character served his purpose? Also, did you enjoy his cameo?
Yeah, I loved his cameo. I don't think it's necessary or needed though for him to come back.
Agreed. What would be the point?
I might bring him back for like I don't know. The fact that he's alive makes me think that Vecna would want to finish him off. So maybe Vecna will go and kill him or something. I'm sure they're going to bring him back somehow because I mean, why wouldn't they? You know. But I don't think they need to. I think you're right. I think it was cool to see it that one episode and leave it there. It was just a cool kind of nod to the rest of the series. And our final question, the only one we got that was not Stranger Things related, if you could recast the Munsters movie, who'd you cast as Herman, Lily, and Grandpa?
Wow, great question. One I've given no thought to, so I will just throw out Vera Farmiga as Lily Munster.
Banging.
Brad Garrett as Herman.
Who's Brad Garrett?
That's the guy from Everybody Knows Raymond.
Everybody Knows Raymond.
Oh, the brother.
Oh,
the brother?
Yeah.
Hey, Raymond.
Yeah, he's got the voice. I feel like he could pull off the voice. And he's tall, so I feel like it could work. And for Grandpa, let's go with I was gonna say Bill Moseley, but I'm surprised Zombie didn't cast Bill Moseley.
Right.
Missed opportunity right there.
Yeah. He
only has loyalty to his wife.
Yeah, right. Keep Daniel Roebuck. He seems like he's actually going to be good as Grandpa, so why not?
Yeah, I don't. Just no. This whole movie, no. Absolutely not.
Just no.
Just scrap it.
Yeah. I'd put Samara Weaving as Lily.
Samara Weaving. Nice.
Yeah, because I like her mannerisms. Yeah, put Arnold as Herman.
Let's put John Cena in there somewhere just for fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Like, anyway, that movie is. I almost can't wait to watch it now, just because of how bad I think it'll be. Like, it can't be worse than what my mind thinks it will be. So,
how long is it going to be? 3 hours?
Oh fuck! I hope
not. I thought I read it somewhere. It's 3 hours.
Oh man, I fucking hope not. Holy shit. Let me look. Let me see if it's on IMDb.
Yeah, but anyway, that was all for the questions. Thank you everyone for the questions. I know a lot of passionate people about Stranger Things in our Discord, and I'm curious what they think of our thoughts. Probably mad that we want to kill off Max, but
Hey, I don't want to kill her off.
I don't want to kill off either. But it was perfect situation for her to die. So
Yeah.
Shout out to Vecna, man. That creature design was really cool.
right, yeah, we
Very
didn't talk
creepy.
about it. Was great creature design and almost all practical, which was awesome.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone got his nose. I kept saying that same fucking joke over and over again to my kids. Like, someone stole his nose because he didn't have a nose. Very creepy, very scary. Scary for the kids. They liked it. My daughter's favorite character is Max, so she would have been really pissed if she died. Yeah, overall though, I thought I really liked that they got out of the comfort zone, but I also hated most of the Russian stuff because it seemed like a totally different show. And then, like you guys mentioned too, the California arc was terrible. And I liked all the Vecna shit, so I wish they would have focused on that instead of all the other filler stuff. And honestly, like through the first maybe 5 episodes, there were some like bright spots for me, but overall I was just like kind of bored and like looking at my phone and things like that. It did pick up towards the end for me, and I liked all the stuff that happened, like the apocalypse is basically starting, things like that. But overall I thought it was kind of a letdown.
Are you rating it?
Okay. I give this out of a 10, a 6.5.
Okay. Ooh, that's tough. I thought it was a very good season. I don't think it was an excellent season. Basically from all the stuff I already said. But I still enjoyed the hell out of it. Like I still had a lot of fun with it. Vecna was awesome. Yeah, just the nitpicks you heard unfortunately just dragged it down for me a little bit, but I'm very still excited for next season, and I still thought this was a really solid season, so I'm gonna give it an 8.
So I watched the season twice. I watched it in its original run, and then I watched it again to write notes on every episode for the show. I actually really loved it, and both times I had a lot of fun watching it. I know I spent 2 hours pretty much tearing it apart, but I really, really had fun watching it. So for me, it's a 9 out of 10. I fucking love this season. I think there's so many things about it that are great, and how the show evolved from the other seasons, and I thought it was great.
I'm going to revise my score because I gave season 2 a 6.5, and that season was largely bad for me. So I'm going to go up slightly to a 7. I still have issues with it, and I would rate the series 3, season 3, season 1, season 4, and then distant season 2.
For doing that, I would go 1, 4, 3, 2.
I rewatched them all on my second run.
Oh, nice.
I would go maybe 3, 4, 1, 2. 1 went down a little bit on my 4th or 5th rewatch, I guess, at this point, because I rewatched all the seasons before every season for some reason. And I don't know, it just compared to 3, I love because of how colorful it was and the mall stuff and everything.
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead. And
I really like Billy too. He's a really good actor, and he played that part very well.
Yeah, apparently he had a bigger role for season 4, but they couldn't fly him out of Australia because of COVID. So he had to film his stuff with a separate crew from another shoot, but like a complete other project that Netflix was doing in Australia. And they kind of shot his scenes separately just to get him somewhat into the story. So I wonder what they would have done more with him had they had access to him for the filming.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see him next season.
Maybe.
Especially like if they're going to try to bring Max back. I mean, it makes sense. We'll see.
Yep.
Maybe she'll have like a ghost thing, like she's in her like wherever she's at, and he's like trying to get her back to the living or something.
Yeah. All righty. Is that it, gentlemen?
I think that's enough 2 hours of Stranger Things talk. So I think that's a pretty good run.
I think so. Some people say we should do this every episode.
I can't do it. I disagree.
All right, everybody. So that is it for our episode and season breakdown of Stranger Things season 4. We hope you enjoyed it. Next week, we are going to be reviewing the highly anticipated Jordan Peele's Nope. So very excited for that one. Other than that, make sure you follow us on all of our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast, or you can email us at any time, thehorrorsquadpodcast@gmail.com. Also, don't forget about our event with Omri Katz from Hocus Pocus, October 22nd in Salem, Massachusetts. The whole squad is going to be there. We're going to have a lot of fun. So just follow on our social medias for all the details for that, which will be coming very shortly. And yeah, I think that is it. So we'll see you next week for Nope.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.